handshaking, a little bit of self-doubt, but then you feed yourself the fire. You have everything within you to succeed. And those are the documentaries that you watch, the quotes that we admire, that we relate to. Just connect with who you truly are. You will win. You will win if you tell yourself the right story. No. Ooh, that's better, right, babe?
Yeah!
Yeah. She founded an architectural concrete company.
He founded a $100 million clothing company.
She took the world by storm as a social media star.
He took the world by storm as a famous serial entrepreneur.
Together we started a business.
And had babies.
Now we're figuring out the best ways to do both.
Join us as we learn from other entrepreneurs going through the same life struggles.
As they share their life hacks about success, love, kids,
and everything in between.
I told everyone I was the greatest, even before I knew I was. Muhammad Ali. Watch what you tell yourself. You might just believe it.
Welcome to this episode of the Pretty and Punk Podcast. My name is Dan Caldwell, and I'm here with my beautiful wife, Ildiko
Ferenczi.
I should have let you say that. I heard you coming in trying to say.
It's okay.
Yeah, we have another great podcast for you guys today. And it's something that's really near and dear to our heart because we feel it's really important. And a lot of people, the reason why I feel like they fail is because for this reason, for exactly this reason, that you will succeed or fail based on the stories you tell yourself. But before we jump into that, hey guys, we hope you're enjoying today's episode of the Pretty and Punk Podcast. And if you are, and you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, it just takes a second. It means so much to us because it really helps the podcast get out there to more listeners like you guys. And if you know anybody it might help and you can send it to them, we really appreciate that too.
We also love and appreciate your reviews. Even the babies look forward to them every day. If you share this episode on social media today, don't forget to tag us. We want to celebrate you because we know it's not easy being a parent in business, and the way that you juggle things makes you a superhero. That's worth a shout out. Together, we have a community of our personal followers as well, and we just want to put it out there. We want to show everybody that this juggle is possible, and you are our family, and we're so proud and grateful to have you a part of this family. So don't forget, all the links are below in the show notes. And thank you again, and let's get back to the show.
You will succeed or fail based on the stories you tell yourself.
I like that. Now, the first thing that jumps out at me is mindset. Mindset has a huge part of the script that's in your head, the story that you're telling yourself, the words that you say to yourself inside your head.
Yeah, I think so many people, they struggle with that, especially at the beginning, because I think when you get further along and you start to have some wins under your belt
and confidence,
you have that, you gain that confidence because you feel like, hey, I've done this before, I can do this again. Mm-hmm. But it's really hard at the beginning when you don't have those wins under your belt yet and you're trying to figure things out and you're comparing yourself to people that have been doing this. You're comparing your day one to people's day 1,000.
Right.
And you're expecting to be as good as they are.
Right. But you just need to believe in the positive parts of that story that you're telling yourself. Because if you believe in your abilities, just right now, just believe in your abilities, believe that you're capable, and just start there, and the wheels will start slowly turning.
I think if you find examples, you know what I always love to do? I love to go back, and I think you know this about me too, babe, that you love how I'll watch all these documentaries, these old documentaries or movies about people, and anybody can do this. But I know it gave me so much power that I would watch a documentary or a movie, a biopic on somebody who was great, Walt Disney or whoever it might be, and when you watch it, you can see they all started like this.
Right.
And you gain this confidence because you see all the failures that they had early on in their life, and they were able to do it. And it always gave me this confidence and a script of like self-talk, like if he can do this,
right,
I know I can do this.
Right.
Like I'm as good as that. This person couldn't even do this.
Well, you see
They failed
your
at
story.
that.
You see your story in their story, and I think
Absolutely.
that's the blessing of it. For myself, I do love that as well, but for myself, I always remember this, and I think that I got this from my mom, is searching for different quotes that related to me, and then I'd love that there would be a Theodore Roosevelt or someone very successful behind a very vulnerable and not weak, but just something human that I could grab onto and say, this quote is from this person, Coco Chanel or whoever it may be, and I relate to this quote, and I would start sticking them on my wall. And I know you did that too. So,
but I think I always, if you look at people, the best way to make them human is to watch and look at their failures.
Right.
You see that it makes them human.
Yeah.
You know, when you see their failures, you see that. I remember one that hit me really, and I just go back to Walt Disney real quick, but you know that he was fired from his first job for for lacking creativity. You know, this is a guy who we know that is his biggest attribute, but yet one of his first jobs he was fired for lacking creativity.
Yeah.
So it just makes me realize that like you can be that person that is not so good at the beginning,
right?
And if you create that, so I love self-talk. I don't know if you do it a lot, but I do it all the time. And I have to tell myself sometimes when I'm especially if I'm trying something new that you've done this, you know, I might be talking about something specific. You've created this company. You've been able to do this. You became a police officer. You did, you know, all these I have to remind myself of those accomplishments that I had, and then use that self-talk to say, hey, look, whatever this is that you don't know how to do now, you can learn how to do it.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of that support also comes from the Bible and the way that your parents raised you. And if you didn't get that and you're not connected to that, that's something you can start telling yourself. And that's very healing. The words that you say to yourself, that's going to give you that power boost that you need. Because sometimes I remember even going in for meetings for the concrete company, and I'd have this quote in my hand, and we would be walking in, and I'd look down and my hand's shaking a little, and I'd have to reassess the situation because I know that that's fear. We're not created to feel fear. It's in the Bible. That's not what God wants for us. He wants us to tap into our courage and our and all the things that we were blessed with. So I would take my personal inventory, and sometimes it even took a call with my mom. My mom's one of the most confident people that I know, but I know that she's come through so much. And whatever it is, take that deep breath. I mean, you try it too. If you're going in, say you're pitching your business or you're taking a call with that client that's worth whatever it is worth. It doesn't matter what it's worth, but you just need to take that deep breath in and confirm who you are, what you were created to do, and you will nail it. I'm not going to lie. I did have those moments of self-doubt. I'd look down, I'd have a script in my hand. My hand would start to shake. That's me having a little bit of self-doubt, or in the concrete company, handshaking, a little bit of self-doubt. But then you feed yourself the fire. You have everything within you to succeed. And those are the documentaries that you watch, the quotes that we admire, that we relate to. Just connect with who you truly are. You will win. You will win if you tell yourself the right story.
I think if you find that story that you can relate to personally, like I always remember listening to "Lose Yourself" by Eminem. There was that just when I would listen to that, not only because he had a movie that went along with it, but when I would listen to that, I would be like, you got one chance, I would remember that. I just remember saying that line to myself over and over again when I would be in situations. And I would tell myself that, look, you can do this. And I know that everybody comes up against this. I don't care who you are. I was just listening to somebody yesterday, somebody big. I can't remember who it was now, but it was somebody big, big podcaster. I think I was listening to a podcast, and he was talking about how even somebody that I kind of look up to, even he comes up against these challenges.
I love that.
And so anybody can have these challenges. I think the best thing you can do is
we all
be
have
prepared.
it. There's if someone says they're 100% all the time, these thoughts will slip in, and it's simply not true. We're all human. The thoughts do come in. We're not supposed to have the thoughts of fear. It's the fear. It's the fear that causes the failure. And it's that story of fear. And that's what you need to erase.
When I had to do my TED Talk, I didn't, I wanted to sound like, somebody who had it all going on and who knew what they were doing. And because I'd watched a bunch of TED Talks, and it was always these confident people who got up there and you admire, for creating something or building something or having all the answers to something. And I started to go through it, and I was like, I'm not always that person. And I didn't feel like that type of talk would relate to people. And so my talk is based on insecurities, that we all have insecurities. But it's really this. It's the idea that if you're telling yourself, if you've created a story within yourself that you are not going to be able to do something, I can't do this, I'm not as good as that person, and you harp on those feelings and those conversations to yourself all the time, you won't be able to do it. But what I realized is that if you can create the positive conversations within yourself, that there's something in you that makes you rise up to that challenge. And it doesn't hurt. I think that everybody, before going into a situation like, a big meeting or a speech or whatever that might be, if you can, get down on your knees and pray.
Yeah, that's powerful.
It will give you some, sometimes my prayers, I would say before I had a closer relationship with God, sometimes my prayers weren't the same prayers. They weren't the prayers that I might do today.
Right.
But my prayer might have been me driving down, I can remember driving to LA in my beat up $1,000 van, going to pick up clothing, and I couldn't pay my rent, and I didn't have money to put food on the table. And I had tears streaming down my face, and we were really in bad shape. And I remember I hit the window and I cracked the window. I didn't mean to do it. Now it's even worse, because now I know I have to fix this window, and it's got this split crack inside the window. So I'd hit the window with my fist, and I didn't realize I had hit it so hard that I'd cracked it. Now I have another problem on my hands, and I was just tears coming down my face, and I'm just saying, please help me find a way to fix this thing.
Yeah.
Please help me be a better business person, have better conversations, meet the right person that I need to meet to do what we need to do in our company. And so my prayers were a little bit different, but I still feel like they were prayers.
Yeah.
And I know they were answered. So I think that self-talk is so critical, and it's especially important that you plan it and you find those moments that will give you energy and give you strength in the moments that you need it most.
Yeah. Is it a visual? Is it just words? Whatever connects with you. Actually, your story reminds me of a story. It just brought it up when we were driving home from the jewelry store with my mom and my brother. And my mom, as I said, she's one of the most positive people ever. And I saw her cry maybe 3 times. And this one time, and practice this self-talk out loud in front of your kids all the time. The prayers that you were talking about, my mom prays all the time. But I remember this one time we were driving home, and we're all in the car. My mom's energy was low. The Hungarian music wasn't lasting. I could tell that thoughts were going through her head, and out loud she said, I only made enough money for milk and bread today. And my brother, I look at my brother because I don't know. I could see that this isn't a positive thing. And my brother gives her a big pat on the back, smiles and kisses her on the cheek and says, that's perfect. We have money for bread and milk. And it's just this self-talk of how she would always self-talk herself. He took over that conversation of positivity and fed it back to her. And she literally started changing her face of worry and frustration morphed into happiness, and it was happy again. So,
and you were only like 5 at the time or something.
I don't know. I was really young. Maybe, I don't even know if I was in kindergarten, but I was so young. And it's like these little cues, little eyes are watching. And I always try to remember that. And it's not just going into a meeting. We tell our children they're beautiful, they're perfect, they're smart. But I was listening to Suzanne. I was listening to Suzanne's book, The Good Life, I think it's called.
Yep.
And she was talking about how she admires her mother, and I admire my mother for the same thing. I found myself in her story, how her mother never, ever said a negative thing about herself or her body. And she was always very proud of it. And I remember my mom too. She was a curvy woman. I don't know if Suzanne's mother was, but I found myself in her story. And my mom never said a negative thing about her. I've heard other people say things and it would get me riled up. You know, sometimes we as women have water gain and sometimes there's cellulite or whatever. I've heard other people say, but my mom never vocalized those words out loud. And Suzanne was saying her mother never did it. And in the mirror, when she looks at herself, she will never vocalize anything negative, always positive. So you need to feed your children. Yes, give them the fruit of life, but also plant the fruit of life into yourself. Don't be, I haven't gone to the gym and I'm this and I'm that. No, plant words of power into yourself. Even if you're not feeling it, plant those words of power into yourself.
And I like perspective. I like how you mentioned how, somebody might look at, I can only afford bread and milk.
Right.
And somebody else might look at it and look, we got bread and milk.
Exactly.
This is awesome. And
I
the perspective
love that.
can make any situation positive.
And see, that's one of the miracles. It's
a
kind of a miracle,
It can be a
but one of the
miracle.
memories that I like to think on when, say, something's not going that great. That's something I like to tap into, that beautiful memory of gratitude. Let's just call it gratitude. And that's a story of gratitude that helps me prepare myself for success, groom myself for success, whatever you want to call it. But
Listen, guys,
there takes work. You have to put work into all of it.
Listen, guys, you will succeed or fail based on the stories you tell yourself. Prepare. Have those stories in your head. Tell yourself that you're good enough. You're great enough. After all, you were telling me the story when we were talking about this. I can't believe you didn't even bring it up. The conception story. You've already won. You were 1 in 100 million. You made it. You're here. So you're already a winner. So don't discount that.
Yes. Your abilities are next to none. Just think of that fight. You had a fight and you won out of all the competition. So have faith in yourself and believe in your dreams and have perseverance. Perseverance is so, so, so important. And never, ever beat yourself up for failures. Those are blessings. Those are your lessons.
Learn your lessons.
And maybe it's a temporary setback, but that is an opportunity to learn and to grow. And those challenges, they may not have come to anyone else. And
they
now
make you better.
Right. And you have that story to share with other people.
They came to you for a reason. You get those challenges for a reason, and they made you better. And if you had a failure or a hiccup or whatever it was, it's making you better. So
Yeah.
talk about the things to yourself that make you better. Use that self-talk. Find those films, those documentaries, those things that are going to give you strength when it's hard.
Right.
And give yourself that positive self-talk. You deserve it.
Trust that God will not give you anything that you can't handle. It may seem so hard, but you're going to get over it.
Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Pretty and Punk Podcast. And we really appreciate you guys sharing this if you think it can help someone that you know. And we will catch you guys next week.
See you next week. God bless.
Thank you for listening to the Pretty and Punk Podcast. See you next week. God bless. Thank you for listening. I hope that changed your life. God bless. See you next time.